Hey guys, welcome back to another special edition here on the Buzz Weaver channel. And I wanted to talk about this specifically because this is something we as content creators deal with quite often. And that is how likes and dislike ratios work, not so much for the purposes of indicating how much you genuinely like a person's video or the person creating the video, but in fact, what you're telling the YouTube algorithm. So this is why you often hear creators, unfortunately we have to say it a lot more often than we used to, because now it is a battle of the AI engagement. So right now, I'll take a moment and say, guys, be sure to like this video and comment if you want to and share this video. You're probably hearing some of your favorite creators say this in every single video because we are dealing with constant changes with the AI. So before I go off on a long ass tangent here, YouTube is testing hiding dislike counts to stop targeted campaigns against creators and protect their well-being. Well, congratulations. It's nice that you're finally addressing this. This isn't anything new to us. This has been going on for many years. We call it raid brigades. In other words, activists, particularly those starting in 2016, that started from the resistance, that became cancel culture, that became the outrage mobs, that became Black Bloc, BLM, and all these, well, now BLM actually started during the Obama administration, but suffices to say, guys, the activists organize, they get together, and they go after particular YouTubers. Now, it's one thing if you go after and do a raid brigade of dislikes. That's one thing. What's happening behind the scenes is that organizations and groups are actually going after creators. And we've seen this happen. You're welcome to watch any of Tim Pool's videos, particularly the ones that he's released on this very topic, because things happen with his channel, things happen with Steven Crowder's channel, things happen with ADV China and Lawai86 and even Serpent ZA, individuals that we have talked about here on the channel. They are directly affected by raid brigades. So in this particular instance, creators aren't going to be particularly upset about a bunch of dislikes on their videos because it's still engagement for us. Here's the silly thing. Dislike is the most misunderstood mechanic on YouTube, okay? The way dislike works is when you, the user, watch a video that you don't like, or you don't like the content, or maybe you don't like the creator, or you don't like, anything about what you just watched, you hit dislike, and what this tells the AI is, please don't suggest or recommend these types of videos to me anymore. Okay? That's what the dislike is supposed to be for. It's not to send a message to the creator about his video, his or her video, and you dislike them as a person or dislike the video as a person. We get this quite often. I got it not too long ago. Someone said, oh, you left out a portion of this clip from this video. Dislike. And then they dislike the video, and never realizing that when they dislike a video, they're simply telling the AI, please don't suggest or recommend this content. So I went back and forth with this person probably quite some time, which was interesting because their dislike was completely undone by the fact that they kept commenting in the video, which generates more engagement. So that's why we say, be sure to hit that like button or smash the like button, leave a comment and share, because it does help with the AI. I don't want to get too long-winded there. All right, so what am I trying to say here? All right, so I can't correlate the dislike changes to this particular with this particular level of motivation and initiative by YouTube. We have been hearing this for years, but suddenly it's now becoming a pivotal point. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that Democrats like playing the popularity game. And we saw this in at least the last 3 years. If you've been on here on the channel, we've talked about this over and over and over. The Democrats worked alongside the mainstream media, the tech giants, the special interest, and Trump detractors to get as many people, or to convince as many people as possible, to hate the president as much as they did. And so perception, perception, perception is gigantic, huge when it comes to the Democrats. So let's take a look at a video here from President Biden on the White House, the official White House channel. And what we see here is 16,626 views. Not too bad, but it is kind of low for a channel with 1.89 million subscribers. And the ratio here is 202 likes to 2,200 dislikes. Now you might say, okay, maybe that was just one bad video. People didn't like it. Maybe they liked the vice president better. Let's take a look. Vice President Kamala Harris, 24,628 views, 282 likes, 2,400 dislikes. Okay, so maybe they don't like Biden. Maybe they don't like Kamala. Let's see if they like Dr. Fauci. So come over here to Dr. Fauci, COVID-19 response. Everybody wants to know what's going on with COVID-19. What do we have? Well, they don't even give a view count. You know what? They've completely disabled this, altogether disabled. But what they didn't disable were the likes and dislikes. So likes 238, dislikes 2,100. So this to the White House YouTube page is a PR disaster. 23,610 views. No comments. Comments are not. Our comments are turned off. I think they were turned off over here too, right? Believe they were. Yeah. So all comments have been turned off. When President Trump was on here, let me tell you, they did not turn the comments off. The comments were monitored, but I can tell you right now, they weren't turned off. So now let's jump over here to Right Side Broadcasting, who created their own production team so that they could cover President Trump on their own. They used to get the feeds, and YouTube would try to shut them down because they would have feeds and say they were violating, copyright, this, that, and the other. So they had their own crews, their own teams, their own people flying around state to state. They operate under donations. And if we go down to, say, like a Trump-specific video, like Trump himself during a rally, let's see if we can find one. Now, keep in mind, in fairness, these are from, 4 months ago, for example. And I just want to kind of give you guys an idea here. So look at the ratio here. And, of course, it has one of my likes on it, too. 52,000 likes, 1,200 dislikes, 928,510 views. Now, of course, this is back in November, so naturally it's going to have far more views than, say, like Biden and Kamala have within the few hours or days of those videos. But I can tell you, having watched many of these rallies, some of these videos, particularly on Right Side Broadcasting, could get as high as 200,000 viewers at one time. That's not counting all the mainstream media sites that are on here on YouTube as well. It doesn't count all of the other outlets like Diamond and Silk and other creators that also live stream and pipe it into their channels. Didn't count all those. So typically, viewers that would watch this on YouTube specifically would probably be around, say, 1.2 million views during a Trump rally. Not uncommon to see that. Here's another one. 806,000, not a big, huge mark, but 41,000 likes, just 1,000 dislikes. Now, I don't know if you guys are into watching the Orville. I kind of like it. It's a sci-fi adventure, very reminiscent of Voyager and Star Trek and stuff. And I think Seth MacFarlane does an amazing job on this show. And what's interesting is they did an episode in season 1 called Majority Rule. And as I say here, the title refers to the planet's government by absolute unstructured democracy. The episode examines mob mentality, the court of public opinion, and the role of social media. So basically what happens is one of the characters goes down to the planet. They're out there just doing their thing, and I think in the show, I think he damages some statue of some particular leader or whomever on this planet. And so they arrest the character of John Lamar. It says faces social correction if he gets 10 million downvotes. In other words, he's executed. So instead of saying execution, they say social correction, because the show is very political correct. It's very SJW, but it's done in a way where it's not too heavily handed with SJW and political correctness. But the point is to kind of mock political correctness. But nonetheless, in the episode, of course, the crew is trying to ensure that he's getting the representation that he's supposed to get, and that all this going on. But in the society, everything is based on likes and dislikes. Food commercials, people out and about, whether or not a certain behavior or a certain thing that's going on in that society, likes or dislikes. And I think that it's kind of reminiscent of what we see in our society now, because most of the social media knows that it's kind of like a dopamine hit, right? There's a certain Skinner box psychology to it, right? Everyone's kind of checking their social media to see, did someone like this? Did I get this approval? For approval seekers, for certain personality types, I won't try to disparage anybody, but there are certain personality types that just dominate on social media, as in they are on social media quite a bit, and they look for the likes and the dislikes, and many of them can be hurt emotionally and psychologically, traumatized, and I don't mean to say that in a disparaging way, if they aren't getting the types of responses that they're anticipating, okay? And I want to shift that over to just the idea of the jury of public opinion. We talk about that often here on the channel, so if you're new here, we often talk about the jury of public opinion and how social media and that mindset plays a huge role in, sadly, a lot of things that we do now. So here in Georgia, where I live, you guys may be incredibly, if not painfully familiar with the 2020 election and what was going on here in Georgia. It was a PR, public relations, public opinion nightmare here in Georgia. And if you guys haven't seen my previous videos around election time, I show you that I would get at least 2 to 3 canvassers a day coming to my house. I even cleared off my table, and I showed all you guys all the flyers that I would get in a single day. Sometimes 8, sometimes 9, sometimes 12 different flyers in a single day from canvassers, because we had the jury of public opinion out there making absolutely sure, one, that President Trump didn't get elected, and two, that either Ossoff or Warnock was going to get elected. And these guys' crowds were minuscule at best. I would say at best, Joe Biden might have had maybe 130 people at these little car rally things they do here. I mean, it was minuscule. But what we do know is that one person, one individual, as we saw with the Veritas investigation that James O'Keefe was involved in, he got a lot of scrutiny for this. The mainstream media, as we talked about earlier, working together with Democrats, went after James O'Keefe super, super hard. I've seen them go after O'Keefe quite often. You guys are probably familiar with James O'Keefe and the Veritas. They go after him relentlessly. But he was able to get a crew in to follow these canvassers in Texas. And I don't want to go too into the details because I'll get in trouble with YouTube, but suffice it to say, it only takes one person to, this one person affected as many as several thousand people when it came to how the outcome of an election works. Very similar to the influence that the Orville was trying to do to help out their one of their crew members in this, fictional story. So the thing about it, of course, too, involving Georgia is that when we talk about the jury of public opinion and popularity and the mindset of popularity by Democrats, and it's not exclusively Democrats. You see here from President Biden, a person of authority, a person who is our respected leader. Well, I'm not necessarily saying that about Biden, but I'm just saying as a general rule, right? He says, the Georgia voting law, like so many others being pursued by Republicans in state houses across the country, is a blatant attack on the right to vote, the Constitution, and good conscience. Joe Biden, that is the most absurd and ridiculous thing I've ever heard. And to top it all off, he says, it's Jim Crow in the 21st century and it must end. That is the most ridiculous, absurd. I don't know who his handlers are, but that was the stupidest thing this man could say, because right now he is pushing for a vaccine card initiative sort of thing. Vaccine cards, or what I call the tyranny card, to be able to do business, to be able to fly, to be able to do whatever with the business. So he is working with, the establishment is running the country, ladies and gentlemen. If you're new to the channel, there's no mystery here that the establishment is running the country. Joe Biden is a surrogate. He was selected because he had the scent of Obama on him. Okay? Don't want to turn this too political. Well, that's kind of ridiculous for me to say that, considering. All right? Now, let's put all this together. If you guys haven't already, be sure you check out my video on this specifically. I get very angry. I get very upset. I'm going to try to keep my composure because every time I see this, it drives me absolutely insane. Not out of anger towards the fact that it is what it is, but just the fact that individuals got away with something that I tried to talk about for 3 years. And in this article by Molly Ball, 6,683 words, she describes exactly what all of us were saying for 3 years during the Trump presidency. And not only that, she caps it off with this. In a way, Trump was right. There was a conspiracy unfolding behind the scenes. One that both curtailed the protest and coordinated the resistance from CEOs. Both surprises were the result of an informal alliance between left-wing activists and business titans. The pact was formalized in a terse, little-noticed joint statement of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and the AFL-CIO published on Election Day. Both sides would come to see it as a sort of implicit bargain inspired by the summer's massive, sometimes destructive, racial justice protest in which the forces of labor came together with the forces of capital to keep the peace and oppose Trump's assault on democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, that paragraph sets me on fire. The entire time we talked about this, we were conspiracy theorists. We didn't have evidence. The Trump's defense team didn't have evidence. It's all right here. 6,683 words of Molly Ball outlining how the jury of public opinion, the Democrats working alongside the mainstream media, the tech giants, special interest, and Trump detractors to get a fortified outcome, a desired result from the election. Now, we've traveled quite a ways, haven't we, from the dislike button. But it's important to note here that this is a societal conditioning tool. Likes and dislikes is a social conditioning tool to get people in the Skinner box mindset. If you aren't familiar with Skinner, he was a psychologist. He came up with this concept of rewarding rodents for clicking buttons, and very, very similar to Pavlov's dogs, but in this sense, utilizing the humans in what is called the Skinner box. And gaming uses this principle in their games where, there's a certain level of risk reward, but you always want to give the person some level of reward so that they feel good about it. Now, you may notice sometimes when you go to your social media that likes will start appearing on the screen as you're on there, or they may develop while you're on there, or even sometimes before, but there will always be usually something positive being generated on your social media to make sure that you stay on there. Now, I'm not going to go into all the details of bots and all the conditioning, and we could go into, well, maybe bots came over here to the White House and downvoted and all that. Not really. YouTube is very, very, very proficient at ensuring that accounts and other things that or accounts are as verified and valid as possible. But they do have scrubbers that come along. They do clean up accounts every once in a while, sometimes once a month, sometimes every quarter. That will change that. Now, we could go into a whole other discussion about how some of these, how YouTube intentionally remove dislikes. But that's a whole other story, and I've already gone too long in this already. But this was something I really wanted to bring up to you guys because I thought it was extraordinarily important. So, if you haven't already, Be sure you like this video. Comment below if you would like. Also, avail yourself to my social media below this video. There are links to my mainstream social media and to my alternative media. And for those of you here on YouTube, that will be the channel icon appearing right there on the screen to subscribe. You click on that. It will give you a box which will have notifications. You can select the notifications that will let you know when there's content here on the channel, as well as these special editions, or if I go live stream and additional content here on the channel. Be sure you guys hang around for the Friday vlog, and I will see you in the next video.